Scorpio Ascendant YouTube channel. It's your girl Lala Monfleury. For those of you who don't know, I just want to apologize to all my subscribers. I know it's been months since I released a video. My 12th house people have probably been waiting for this for a minute. I'm sorry. Those of you who don't know, I'm going through my Saturn return. I have Saturn in the 4th house in Aquarius, so that's great. Saturn's retrograde, so been loving every minute of it. Not really. It's been a struggle. You know, Saturn also squares my ascendant, my moon, and my Venus. So it's been a nightmare on Elm Street. But I've been, you know, trying to tap into my Pluto power and get through. You know, I'm also battling a combust Mars in the 1st house. So those of you that have Mars in a fire sign conjunct their sun, kind of know how I'm feeling. We're really great starters, but we're not so great at finishing. And that's one of the things that Saturn's been teaching me. And I've been just leaning into the lesson because that's really all you can do with Saturn, right? Like, you can't run. Your arm's too short to box with God, right? So enough about me. I'm here to deliver you guys Pluto in the 12th house. So without further ado, let's get started. For those of you who don't know, Pluto represents all things Scorpio and 8th house. So he is power, he is control, he is other people's resources, he is death, transformation, he's rebirth, he is life after marriage, he is sex, like taboo sex. He represents the underworld and like all things hidden, things that we would be ashamed of, we don't want people to know. Shame, crisis, trials, tribulations. But once you have gone through all that and you have conquered it, Pluto turns into the phoenix and turns into your superpower once you have brought that suppressed dark aspect of the human psyche to the light and you make it conscious. Then you now have control over your Pluto and can use it and tap into it as your superpower. And Pluto's also psychic. Pluto also represents magic as well, like taboo subjects, for instance, the occult, metaphysics, and, you know, the esoteric. And the 12th house really symbolizes spirituality. You know, it's isolation. What do monks do? Where do monks go when they're trying to reach, you know, that other higher level of consciousness? They isolate, you know, they become monastic. So, you know, Pluto kind of likes being in the 12th house because he's really at home here, because Pluto is the process by which, you know, one phase turns into another phase, right? The 12th house is, you know, spiritual growth. The 12th house is your relationship with the divine, okay? And also the 12th house is typically ruled by Pisces, and Piscean and Neptunian energy in and of itself, Neptune, the ruler of Pisces, is kind of like, it's spiritual, but it's like escapist as well. So Pluto in the 12th house. When I see any planets in the 12th house, I see parts of that person that is unknown or hidden from themselves, okay? For example, I have my moon and my Venus in the 12th house. I know, it's a harsh placement for a young lady like myself. But that, with that being said, I find it hard to tap into the divine feminine sometimes because the 12th house hides the energies of that planet from yourself. And again, you know, Pluto represents power and control. So when it's in the 12th house, a lot of times these people might feel like their power and their control in the eyes of others is suppressed. You know, it's interesting. I just got done dealing with this dude that had Pluto in the 12th house in Libra. And, you know, he believed that he was a dom like a BDSM dominant, you know what I'm saying? But when I met him, you know, I could definitely tell he was a beta male. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's interesting, you know, that in the development of like the BDSM relationship dynamic of the sub and the dom, that is where he finds his control, you know, because it's the validation that the sub gives the dom that makes him feel as though he has power and he has control. And that's kind of Pluto in the 12th house, like seeking the power and control. Depending on the sign, like if it's in Libra, you're going to seek that power and control from others to validate this void that you have within yourself. And so the lesson here is to develop that power, that will, that control, that not necessarily status, because that's more of a Saturn thing, but Pluto's exalted in Capricorn, just like Mars, you know what I mean? So it's developing that within yourself. That is the lesson here, because it's painful. It's very painful when people have Pluto in the 12th house, because they feel like they know that they have this like power and control, but for some reason the world doesn't register it, and that bothers them, and it just irritates them, and that's why they seek it out in other things. Pluto also represents like your own personal autonomy and the confidence that you have in your own personal autonomy, right? Because he's a sovereign, eternal ruler of the underworld, and that energy translates, you know, when he expresses himself through us in human form. So when you see it in the 12th house, you know, the 12th house suppresses from the native, the planets and the representation of the planets is in the 12th house. So you can see that someone that has Pluto in the 12th house really struggles with finding that confidence in their own autonomy, probably because they had a parent that suppressed it a lot, or a parent that didn't allow them to be themselves. Maybe they had some type of interest as a kid that they were made to feel shamed of, and so they felt like they had to suppress that part of them, and now they feel that shame, and maybe it comes out in like different forms that is even hidden to the native. So a lot of times you can see these people might sometimes feel like in life they get looked over a lot, or like ran over a lot, or people don't respect what they want and what they say, or they might talk over them sometimes. And so with that being repressed, it kind of like manifests itself in dark areas, because Pluto's already a background energy, like a background influence, right? It's like the dark aspect of the psyche, and the 12th house is as well. It's like what's unconscious to ourselves. And so the 12th house also represents like bed pleasures. So when these people feel like the energy that they want to give out in the world is rejected, it manifests itself in other areas. And I have seen a lot of time where these people could be really into have like different appetites and interests that are kind of like, not necessarily that they're ashamed of, but they know that they can't really discuss or talk about with other people. And they might even sometimes be a little delusional about like their own self-expression, their own self-identity. You also have to be careful when you have Pluto in the 12th house, because Pluto represents rage, you know, as it's the higher octave of Mars, and Mars is anger. You know, the higher octave of anger is rage. And depending on what sign your 12th house is, you know, you can, because the 12th house also represents institutions and like imprisonment, right? People with this energy, depending on what aspects are also, you know, affecting Pluto, can find themselves, if they're not checking like their rage and their you know, those behaviors, can find themselves maybe in some trouble. So you want to like look out for that. Also, Pluto's psychic. And so whenever I see this placement, like, you know for sure that people that have Pluto in the 12th house definitely have the capability to access different dimensions. And I'm not trying to scare you guys, but you know, I mean, when I say it just sounds so like natural and normal because like I'm Haitian, I grew up like in a family that like believed in all that stuff, believed in ghosts and spirits and all that. So it's normal for me, but for people that don't know that, like, it might scare them. They might think that they're schizophrenic when really they have a gift, you know? And now I'm not a scientist, I'm not a psychiatrist, so I'm not gonna say like your schizophrenia isn't real or anything like that. So, you know, that's not what I'm saying, but I am saying that like people with Pluto in the 12th house can have like very, very strong intuition. They could be psychic, but also Pluto represents hell and demons. So you need to be careful when you have this placement, because even though you have the ability to tap into those different realms, if you don't know what you're doing and you don't protect yourself, you can also attract different entities to you, like in your sleep. These people might have experienced a lot of paralysis sometimes, or like visitation from, you know, different entities. You know what I mean? Like if somebody with Pluto in the 12th house told me that they saw an alien or got abducted, I'd really believe them. You know what I mean? Just because that's that energy. Pluto in and of itself, wherever it's placed, has that like ability to gift you with intuition, to gift you with these abilities to tap into these different realms and dimensions. But this is why people with this placement have to be extra careful, you know, with protecting themselves, you know, through whatever you believe, through talismans, through meditation, through protecting your sacred space, making sure that the people that are around you are good people and have good vibes, because a lot of times these spirits also use people as agents to get to you as well, you know, because they're not physical beings and we live on a physical plane. So you have to be careful of that too. Yeah, but all in all, with people with Pluto in the 12th house, they really need to learn that they have what it takes within them, that they don't have to look out to, you know, other people for validation of who they are, that they have all that it takes to be everything that they've ever envisioned for themselves, like within themselves, you know? Yeah. So that's my take on Pluto in the 12th house. I hope you guys liked it. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I will get back to you guys with my next series on Saturn through the houses. All right? All right. Take care, guys.